How's it, guys? This is Davey FPL and welcome back to another Deadline with Davey live stream. Just give me a second actually to take my AirPods off noise cancelling mode. I was sounding a bit weird there. But thanks for joining the stream, guys. I know it's been a while. So the last time I think I spoke to you guys, I was sick. I think it was game week 12. It was about 335 days ago, it seems, or hours ago. I will be changing that timer, don't worry. But the moral of the story is it's been a minute, but don't worry, I am back. The videos will be continuing for now till about a few game weeks into December, and then we'll just take it from there. So let me know how you guys are doing since it's been such a while. How's the rank looking? I still have to update my, let me just give me a second to update the graphic above my head, as that's not the real rank. And as mentioned, also just give me a second to fix the timer. While I'm doing that, you can let me know if the audio and the video do sound and look Gucci. And then we can head straight into the stream. Revolving around Gameweek 15. A lot of game weeks have happened recently. It seems like Phil Foden is just rising in price every single night, which you love to see if you guys did buy him a few days ago. We did make that that transfer confirmed a few days ago. So we have, I think, risen twice in price, which is always good. And then let me check AM here, and then it's going to be what today's date and PM, my bad. And then 50 minutes. Okay, so the deadline timer will occur in about 3 minutes time. So that should be up and running. And then let me just bring the chat up as well as Twitter, so that we can get notified when things do happen. And then let me just check how much money I do have in the bank for the graphic. We have 0.3 in the bank. So we had a little bit of money to play with. I think I can actually zoom in here once more, and that might make it look a little bit better. Let me just check. Yeah, that looks good. And I will be giving you guys the updated ranks fairly shortly. So quite a weird one. We actually did get a red arrow last week. If you guys can see, a 69 total points, but I did take a -4. So it's not going to be 69, it's actually 65. And that kind of explains the red arrow. But having Haaland captain and Munoz did not result in a green arrow, which I was quite surprised with. So let me know how your game week went. I know there was some of you that actually went out and captained Bruno for the punt. Hopefully that went well. But having captained Haaland for his haul and then also owning Munoz, I was a bit disappointed with getting a red. But I guess it is what it is. Okay, cool. I've got chat up. Do apologize for being a little bit behind. Haven't done this in a while. I'm sure you guys can forgive me for that one. But everything should be updated as of now. So in 1 minute's time, the time will resume. But we had an early question for FPL Hit saying, how's it, Davey? Good to have you back. Thank you. Good. It feels good to be back. Did Ndai to Foden early with 1 free transfer. Should I take a -4 to do João Pedro to Thiago or Keane to Anderson? Or just wait for 5 free transfers? FPL Hits, just let me know how your starting 11 looks. Like, can you bench João Pedro at the moment? Are you starting Michael Keane, that sort of thing? Just let me know the overall team structure, and then I can tell you if it's worth a -4. All I can say, and that you guys should just focus on this at the moment, is that if you have any free transfers left, use them. Now, this actually might be quite tough. It might force you to do early moves that you would have done in a few weeks' time, and therefore they could actually come back to bite you. But my suggestion is use as many free transfers as possible, at least now before game week 16, as next week we get 5 free transfers anyways, so any transfers will be wasted if you're rolling them basically to next week. So maybe try and do your free transfers, maybe try and avoid hits, as we've mentioned with your hits, as you're getting sort of 5 free transfers next week anyways. But that would be my suggestion, is if you have free transfers, try and use them. Apologies for that one, guys. Siobhan is saying, I hope you had a good vacation. Thank you. It was pretty good. Just very hot, but it was quite enjoyable. Free at 15. Pick 2 from Thiago, Welbeck, and Palmer. I don't exactly know with Cole Palmer. I probably wouldn't go for him. I'd go Thiago Welbeck. I just want to see him getting a majority of minutes, starting the game, that sort of thing. And I think it might be a while. How's it, Davey, go to FPL? I have Saar still. Do I take him to Bruno Guimaraes for free or take a -4 for Saka and Gakpo to Foden and a 6.1? Who's the best 6.1? Okay. I think I might just go cheap then. I might go like Dewsbury Hall or someone like an Anderson. I just don't think there's too many great 6.1s. I mean, Minte was there for a second, but I think he's risen in price. So you're probably going to get him for a bit more expensive now. Yeah, 6.3. So in terms of who's the best midfielder for 6.1, just give me a second to sort of pull up a list of those sort of midfielders. Otherwise, we have Tracy saying, how did it be good to be back for a live stream? Let's go. Feels also good to be back. I was going to make a video last night, but I got in a bit late, and therefore I decided to not do that. So I'm sure you guys can understand coming back and flying back, you generally a bit tired. But let me go over midfielders that come in at around 6.1. I think it's probably going to be someone cheaper, like a Dewsbury Hall, an Anderson. I think what I probably would do is I would go like Dewsbury Hall because he's so cheap, or an Anderson, and just save the budget. I don't think there's anyone around that 6 bracket that I like the look of. So in terms of a -4, yeah, Foden and a 6.1 probably looks a little bit better. And then just go for Anderson or Dewsbury Hall. Any chocolate milk? No, Vincent. No chocolate milk, just water today. Start Mateta or Anderson. Start Mateta, Vincent. Don't go for... I think you have to start Mateta if you do own him. I still have all my chips. What's the best strategy? So 0008, you're actually in a really strong position. I love this sort of having every chip, unless you're talking about the wild card. If you have the wild card, then just wild card this week. But I would free it 16. I would bench boost 18, and I would triple captain 17. So you're going to have 3 weeks of chips consecutively. So once again, free at 16, triple captain 17 on Haaland versus West Ham, and then you're going to bench boost in 18, where a lot of the like relegated teams, newly promoted teams, they have pretty good fixtures. I saw someone also 000 also became a member for 7 months, so I do appreciate the renewal. Thank you, Vincent, for saying hello. Gucci hits. It was really good. So if you guys don't know, I went to Namibia, but more towards the desert side. So I climbed the dunes, did hot air ballooning. It was really, really sort of bucket list stuff. And unfortunately, the signal there was really bad. So I basically missed the Gameweek 14 deadline. But luckily, I had done transfers before that because I missed the deadline. There was no reception. And by the time I could drive to where there was reception, the deadline already passed. So not the best planning for me. What's your FPL ID? It's 18708. I'll put it in chat. Christian has been a legend member for 40 months. Absolutely insane. Saying, how's it, boss? Nice World Cup group for SA. It does look okay. I'm always a bit more pessimistic. So let's see. Who would you recommend to bench? Also, do I take a hit? Okay, Christian, just because you renewed for 40 months, I shall take a look. If memory serves me right, you are Rapid Ross. So I mean, Norway's group also looked pretty good. I was worried because when I was watching the draw, I forgot that you couldn't have once the second pool had been added, you couldn't have a same confederation. So I thought Norway were going to go in the group with England and Croatia, and that would have been a massive group. But unfortunately, as you know, couldn't do the same confederation. So Norway's group probably looks a little bit better. So you have 1.7 in the bank. I think I would play Thiago over Anderson. And I think otherwise you have it fine. I don't think you have to take a hit. I think your team looks good. It just depends on who you want to bench. And I think I'd bench Thiago. I'd take Thiago off the bench and bench Anderson. It's between Anderson and Enzo for me. So if you have a big preference there, you can swap. But I wouldn't be benching Thiago against Spurs, Christian. But otherwise your team looks good. I wouldn't take a hit, brother. Okay, cool. Is the timer working fine? Yeah, it looks fine. Okay, but why wildcard 9 and not game week 19? I think you can't. I think game week 19 is the last week. You can't use it. I don't think you can use it in game week 19, can you? Okay, you can game week 19. Okay, so the only reason why is I think... Actually, you can use it. You can use a game week 19 or this week if you want to. I just thought, so to be honest, I thought that game week 19 was already in the new year. So I didn't think it was this side of the year. So you can use it 19 then. That's okay. I think that's perfect because then what you can do is you can use your 5 free transfers to do your bench rotation moves and stuff like that. So if your team looks good this week, run with it. Then game week 16, free it. Game week 17, use your 5 free transfers for a nice bench boost. And then game week 18, bench boost, triple captain game week 17, use your transfers between 17 and 18. And then wildcard game week 19. Yeah, so you're probably in even a better situation then because of that. So yeah, sorry, I thought game week 19 was in the new year. Start O'Reilly or Anderson? I would start O'Reilly. I don't think O'Reilly is benched and comes off. I might be wrong there, but I think if he doesn't play, he won't come on. Sadesh saying Quinton de Kock century, damn. So Sadesh, it's about time. So I'm happy that Marker made a century because in the first ODI, our openers did absolutely nothing. So pretty happy with that. And also, if you guys are watching F1, I mean, F1 this weekend is going to be spectacular. So I'm hoping for a big sort of result coming in. I don't know if you guys watch F1, but sorry if I'm chatting about other sports, cricket and F1 here, instead of going over FPL. So let me just do a quick recap. Sorry, guys. I see that I do have my team. So as you can see, last week, the transfers I did was I brought in Minte as well as Munoz. So Munoz came in clutch nicely, but Minte, unfortunately, didn't have the best game. Overall, though, it was a red arrow, quite surprisingly, but I guess I can understand it with so many of my other players blanking. But yeah, happy with the Haaland captain. I didn't really consider anyone else, to be honest. And that's what I mentioned, even in my pre-recorded video, that I was pretty set on Erling Haaland. And if you do look at Game Week 13, Game Week 13 was an absolute fail, so let's go over this quickly. Lovely Erling Haaland triple captain flop. In terms of the free hit would have obviously looked a lot better, but actually okay. As long as free hit 16 looks decent, I think I'm okay with having not used it. But obviously when you consider the fact that I would have triple captain in 17, let's see what Erling Haaland does against West Ham, because if he does go large, then the strategy does not look great. So let's see how it does go though. But yeah, so 69 points minus 4 though, so for 65. And then let's obviously go to this week, and this is the lineup for this week. So the transfers I made was I took Semenyo out for Foden, and then I'm benching Enzo, starting Michael Keane for the home game. However, I don't think he comes off the bench. So if he does miss out once again, I'll just get Anderson off the bench, which is okay. But because I'm starting Mateta, I hope that he scores. So I'm playing the odds here slightly. But if you guys do have an Anderson, that's a very viable replacement. And I've seen him in action, a lot of people starting 11s already. So yeah, sorry, I'm missing a lot of chats here. I do apologize. I'm waffling a bit. Gia is saying, morning, mate. I hope you had a good trip. Thank you. Do appreciate it. Also think you followed up with another question here. No, you just said, hope you enjoyed it. Okay, no, you did. You said, wanted a quick 1 week punt. Can't afford Semenyo to Foden. I was thinking either Gordon, Minte, Gakpo, or Doku. Thoughts? I would probably go Gordon or Minte. I like Gakpo, but there could always be rotation there. And with Doku, same thing with Man City. So I would go Gordon or Minte. Let me just go check. Apparently, I think Gordon is going to start, so his odds should look pretty good. I think Minte's projections will be higher because he's probably more guaranteed to play more minutes, but let me check Gordon for you. And also Kamsi this week, I think Kamsi is pretty okay. I don't know what you guys are captaining, but it seems like Erling Haaland is definitely the one to go for. Okay, so Gordon's projections aren't that high because his minutes aren't that great. But yeah, I think it's Gordon. If you're confident that Gordon starts, then I would 1 week punt on him. He's on penalties as well, right? So that should be pretty good. So that's who I would go for Gia. Would you do KDH or take a 1 week punt on Casemiro? I would just go KDH. I don't know about Casemiro. Hoping Max will hit the 5-peat. I mean, yeah, I've warmed up a bit to Max this season. And I'm actually, I don't know. I don't think I should say who I support and everything like that because maybe you guys like them. But I would like a little bit of an upset happening. Maybe if Norris does choke it a little bit. We'll see. Ryan is saying 0.1 away from affording Foden. Do you think I should do Cunha despite him playing against his former team, or should I go Doku in order to have money in the bank for the AFCON? I would just go Cunha because Cunha is going to play more after the free transfers. I think if you want Doku medium term, then go for him. But I think probably Cunha is a bit safer. Bench Thiago or Gakpo? I would bench Gakpo. I would play Thiago. I think when I saw the projected lineup for Liverpool, let me maybe go over those and see. Just a reminder, I always use jump the wave, one word, for my projected teams. Let me just go see what Liverpool fans are saying about Gakpo. I would maybe say that he's benched if I was to give like my prediction. But I mean, who knows what's going to happen. Okay, so Gakpo's on 38%. So I probably would say I would bench him if you have a viable replacement. João Pedro, can I keep him or say goodbye to him? Winston, I think it's probably a say goodbye, especially if you don't have a player like a Thiago. Rangers to Foden for a -4. Milos, that is tough because if Foden's benched and Rangers starts, you don't want to do that. Can't get Foden, Davey. Who? You can go for Cunha, Andrew. Otherwise, I would just keep Semenyo and do a defensive transfer and other transfers. So Michael Keane to someone else if you have the funds. Van Hecker looks pretty good. They have some good fixtures. I would say do that. So you can keep Semenyo and then just play him in game week 17 against Burnley at home. That's also a viable strategy. Enzo or Semenyo to start? I think it's Semenyo. If I had to sort of say what my prediction was. Yeah, I think it's Semenyo slightly. Thoughts on Bruno G in place of Enzo? Bruno G is fine, especially because he's probably had his rest. And what was good to me is the fact that he came off at half time. So it means that he's quite integral to the squad. So I think it's Bruno G's okay if you want an Enzo replacement. You transferring Keane out? No, I'm keeping Keane. I'm not going to take a hit to take Keane out when Anderson can come off the bench. What moves would you have done if you were priced out of Foden? I probably would have taken Michael Keane to Van Hecker. That's probably what I would have done and just kept Semenyo and then kept Semenyo for game week 17. Because just remember, guys, I am free hitting next week. I'm free hitting in game week 16. Any leaks from the Arsenal starting lineup, especially on Rice? Let me check. As far as I know, I don't think Arsenal give us too many leaks. I think if there was one team that keeps things under wraps, it probably would be them. But I see here that Rice is yellow flagged. So I do see Rice's yellow flag, so I can understand why you guys might want some early news. But I wouldn't be confident. I don't think we get early Arsenal team sheet news. I see there's a few people saying that you should captain Bruno. Anyone captaining Bruno? Let's just say Rice will start. I'm pretty sure Rice will play. I think the Arsenal team is going to be like full strength. I think we had the rotation in the midweek. Start Tarkowski or Anderson. Tarkowski. Sorry, I don't know why I was saying Tarkowski. Tarkowski. I'd start him rather. Sorry if I missed. Which one would you bench? Mateta, Enzo, or Anderson? I would bench Anderson. I play the former two. What do you think about Marino from Arsenal? I like him, but the fact that Gyökeres is back fit, I think that ship's probably sailed a bit. You made the transfer. Yeah, I made Foden. I did Foden in for Semenyo a few days ago. Munoz still looking good to bring in. Ropefly he is. I would have probably said last week was the better week, but obviously that's in the past. He is going to be banned for one game. So what my hope is that he gets booked against Fulham so that he misses Man City. He misses Man City, and then I'm free at in 16 anyways, and then I do have him for Leeds. So I hope that he gets, let's just say I hope that he gets booked today. I wouldn't be too mad. But Munoz is still fine to bring in, but I mean the Crystal Palace defenders are probably the ones that you want to look at. Can you pick 4? Foden, Anderson, Rice, Gakpo, Semenyo. Yeah, Foden definitely. I'd say Rice is okay. Semenyo, Anderson. I'd bench Gakpo. It seems like Gakpo's minutes are going to be reduced this week. Harsh, I already replied to this. I said Bruno G is fine. I would go Minte though, rather, as you've said. What's a good team value? I honestly don't know, Sadesh. I think a good team value just to be above 100. Marius is asking, doing Gakpo, Konate, and Delap to Thiago Foden and De Kepa. Foden captain. Good luck, Marius. Those transfers do look pretty good, brother. Yeah, I can answer your question. Bench one of Welbs in Dai. I would bench Anderson. Play Semenyo. I play Semenyo. If you have Semenyo, you play him. Yes, good question, good one. Let's go over the clean sheet odds. Good segment, good segue to the clean sheet odds. Let me just. You got full Foden there shushing us on the right hand side. So let's hope that he does shushes the non-owners this week. Okay, cool. So Rob TFPL, as always, top left. Go follow him if you guys haven't. These are going to be the projected clean sheets and projected goals for the upcoming game week. So this is actually the first time I'm seeing this because I just got back, as mentioned, from over Namibia. So it looks like Man City here at the top with 2.49, which does tell you that from a odds perspective, Haaland is the best captain. Because if you look at someone like a United, they've got 1.84. Haaland has a higher goal share than a Bruno does, so Haaland is therefore going to be a very sensible captain. Newcastle defensively at the top with 46% expected against Burnley. Also high projections from Newcastle. So if you guys taking a punt, Vutamare, Gordon, all these players, if they do start, they're looking really strong. There have been some question marks about some rotation though for Newcastle. So they look pretty good. I'm hoping Brighton do well with Minte. Liverpool not the highest at actually 1.65, so their projections have tanked. Liverpool projections, I mean, against Leeds, 1.65 is terrible. So they're not looking that great. Chelsea also looking okay. Should be goals on that fixture. Bournemouth also 1.4. Chelsea 1.7. Some good projections though. Brighton also 36% for a clean sheet. I spoke about Van Hecke. Everton 35%. So between them it's super close. And that's why I'm starting currently Everton and Michael Keane over the Fulham assets, because if Michael Keane does start, slightly higher projections for a clean sheet. So that's why I'm doing that. Arsenal also 38%, quite high. So I'm going to leave these on screen, and if you guys have any kind of benching dilemmas, you guys can use this. I've seen like, should you start Enzo versus an Anderson? I would start an Enzo. 1.7 is not that bad. Will Burn play? Let me maybe go back over to Twitter and see if I can get a Newcastle projection. Okay, Newcastle. Okay, so Newcastle. Burn is at 92%, so I think Burn should play. Bruno G, for those asking, is 100%. Gordon was on 83%, so still pretty confident. Siddharth is asking whiskey or tequila. I'm not the best with either, so I don't know. Let's just say whiskey, more sophistication. Play Enzo or Thiago. I'd go Thiago. Which transfer is good for the long term? Semenyo to Saka or Semenyo to Foden? Winston, you have to do Foden at this stage. He just looks too good. I would do that. But obviously with anyone comes some risk of rotation. Any Man City option. Lacroix's good to bring in, yes. Lacroix's good. Anyone from basic Crystal Palace is pretty good, but I like Lacroix. I think Lacroix is like the second best option, although Gay also looks pretty good value. Someone said that Shaw. Yeah, I did see that Shaw potentially, but I don't know. We will see. Well, it's all that whole thing about Newcastle and will they actually do a lot of rotation. If you could do only one this week, Thiago or Welbeck, already have Minte as well. I would go Thiago because you're going to want him Hector in the future anyways. So unless you want like a 1 week punt, if you want a 1 week punt, then it does look like here that you should be going for a Welbeck because they've got a high projection. But Thiago, you want more long term. Niall is having a super chat saying, best Enzo replacement, Grealish, Minte or Bruno G. I would go Minte, I like him. And also, Brighton have great fixtures if you can free it in game week 16, although against Liverpool, they might even score. So, I mean, Liverpool is not really great. I have Burn, fingers crossed. Per one, you're going to play him though anyway. So even if he is benched, just play him. The risk of him being benched, I don't think is great enough for you to miss out on Burnley at home. So I would just play him. I missed the triple captain the other week. Should I hold? Yes, big Eward. Like, that is a great position to be in. You should have wanted to have missed it because we did nothing. So yeah, game week 17 against Haaland, against West Ham. Mary Bell is asking Keane or Richards. Looking at the projections here, Crystal Palace have a lower projection of a clean sheet, but I do actually like them. So I would go Richards over Keane. I would go against the odds here and I would actually play Richards. Bench one of Virgil van Dijk, Tarkowski or Thiam. I would bench Tarkowski. That's what I would do. I know Liverpool don't look great, but yeah, I think that the clean sheet chance here, as you would have seen, is quite close between them. And therefore, I would just go for Virgil van Dijk and hope for the best. But between Van Dijk and Tarkowski, it might be quite close. But I definitely be playing Thiam against Newcastle. A good Newcastle asset. I mean, it's tough to say as there might be some rotation, but a Voltemade looks good, of Gordon, a Thiam or Tiam, whatever you want to pronounce it. Milos saying, sorry, I lost net, no worries. Reinders to Foden for a -4. It's tough, Milos, as I was saying, because I mean, if Reinders starts and Foden doesn't, but I think it should be okay. I don't want to say that you guys should take a bunch of hits this week, as I think they might be worth it, but I think Reinders to Foden does look okay. Especially because that hit should pay off in the long run. Play Rice or Reinders. That is quite tough. You probably play Rice because Reinders might be benched. Super chat missed. Neil, I did reply. I said Minte, brother. But so thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it. I did say Minte for your question. What's the plan this week? So the plan this week is to just kind of run with the team we have, unless we get some massive team news. And then next week is the free hit week, so it's going to be quite an exciting one. Rice or Enzo to start? I probably would just go. I mean, between those two, it should be pretty low ceiling moves. Enzo probably will be favored slightly more because he's more attacking. But I don't mind Rice. I think Rice in these harder games is actually pretty good. It's literally like a 50-50. I'd say Enzo maybe because he's slightly more attacking. João Pedro or Semenyo, who to start? Who to sell? Okay. I don't think João Pedro starts. There have been some projections that he's benched, so I would just say Semenyo. And I'd sell João Pedro, especially maybe to Thiago Rezine. Bench João Pedro or Anderson. Let me go check. Okay, let me go check the Chelsea projection for you. Okay, in this one, in this projection, looks like João Pedro will start at cam. Let me go see if I can find. Okay, Chelsea. João Pedro is 73%, so he might be benched. It's between him or Delap, basically. Yeah, I don't know. Even if he does play, he probably gets like 60 minutes. I would sell João Pedro instead of Semenyo. But to start, I mean, maybe just go Anderson. Anderson is a safe move, right? How's it looking, Harry? It's looking good, brother. Hopefully you're doing well. Can you show the current team? Yeah, let me show the current team. I think you guys have had enough. Don't worry, though. You can always just ask me if you want me to go back to the projections. Here's the team. If you guys haven't seen it yet. Are you worried going to this game week? I don't think the Newcastle attackers are that highly owned. I mean, a Voltamata might be quite highly owned, but I'm pretty okay. I think the team looks good. Like, there's a lot of players here that I think could perform well. Andy Hutch is saying, hey, nice to have you back. Was Chaos when you disappeared? Yeah, sorry, I do apologize about that one. As mentioned, I actually did miss the Game Week 14 deadline, so that's why I didn't post before. Do you have a rough idea on what you want to do with the 5 free transfers? So, Andy, I'm free-hitting next week, so I'm not going to even use those 5 free transfers. So let's see what happens. I think after that, I have a rough idea. Probably if Saka looks good, I'll go for Saka. Otherwise, it's just going to be kind of maybe downgrading some options, get some cheaper players in, maybe switch to a 3-5-2, upgrade an Enzo, and then Dai, that sort of thing. Okay, cool. Let me just check for you a Bay. I don't see... Okay, wait. Maybe put it in the... Should you bench boost this week? No, I'd bench boost Game Week 18. Game Week 18, this looks like such a good week to bench boost. I'm 0.5 off Semenyo to Foden. I think it's because Foden's risen in price like 0.4 times this last week. What do you recommend? I'd probably just keep Semenyo there for Burnley at home. And I would do another transfer, like a defensive move. If you haven't done... I didn't do the Foden move. Should I do it now or give Semenyo the chance? If you think Foden outscores Semenyo, I would still do it. If you can still afford it, that looks fine. Rodon versus Mukiele. It's probably Mukiele. But I don't know why. Are you talking about like as a free transfer now? You want to know if you need to upgrade Rodon? Because if you do, then maybe. Bay, it's in the members only. Okay, let me just check that for you. So your name on Discord wasn't the same. So no, I think your team is fine. Your team is perfect. I don't think I would play Anderson over any of those players. So I think you're all Gucci there. What defensive move appeals? Probably like a Keen to a Van Hecker or a Keen to a Richards. I don't know if you can afford that. I think those look pretty good. Got bench boost, triple captain, and wild card. When do you suggest using the chips? Okay, cool. So we had this debate. So yours is a bit different because you don't have the free it left. So what you can do is you can wild card now, wild card next week instead of free hitting, or you can just go through Game Week 16 with your 5 free transfers. I would then triple captain in Game Week 17, Haaland versus West Ham. I would bench boost in Game Week 18, and if you didn't wild card in Game Week 16 or 15 this week, then I would do it in 19. What's your opinion on White? I wouldn't go there. It's just, I mean, the only opinion on White is that he might take some minutes off another Arsenal defender, but I wouldn't buy him. Transfer tips for Game Week 16 free hitters. I'm thinking about doing Mateta or Thiago to Welbeck. Or Thiago to Welbeck this week. I already have triple City. Okay, so I would keep Thiago. You can do Mateta, but I would just say, just keep what you have, because Christian, you're going to get Mateta back for Leeds in Game Week 17, and you're going to get Thiago back for Wolves in Game Week 17 as well. So I would just keep both of them. I don't think having Danny Welbeck is like essential this weekend, Game Week 17. I think your players have good fixtures that you already own currently. But if you want to take the punt, then I would probably say Mateta. Zakia has been a legend for 39 months. Absolutely insane. Any wildcard drafts have wildcard free hit and bench boost available. So Zakia, you don't have to wildcard this week. You can wildcard next week or even in Game Week 19. That looks pretty good. But if you want a wildcard this week and you already have the free hit in Game Week 16, then yeah, just think about what I was kind of mentioning, is that you can then always wildcard in game week 17 if you want to. I don't exactly know what your moves would look like, but yeah, wildcarding game week 17 after 5 free transfers is a bit interesting. But yeah, I think maybe what you should do is wildcard 19 then. So free at 16, bench boost 18, wildcard maybe 19. That's what I would say. But if you want to wildcard this week, then it's pretty much like triple city. I would have O'Reilly, maybe instead of Virgil. I would still have Minte. I would have Thiago, maybe a Welbeck, Haaland, Thiago front three. I would still have Bruno. Foden, obviously, Minte. You might go cheap on the bench, like a Dewsbury Hall or an Anderson. And then maybe you take a punt on like a Gordon instead of like an Ndai, that sort of thing. So I think like the wildcard might pick itself in that regard. What happened in game week 17? Triple captain got wrong. Yeah, it was just basically he didn't perform as well. Like, I mean, Haaland basically had no chances, even though Man City scored a ton of goals. So it's one of those things. It's just, it kind of is what it is. I free it, and it was one of, yeah, so the free it, I mean, the free it should be better than your team because it's like you're selecting the best players. So the free at 13 strategy looked pretty good. But let's see how game week 16 goes. I think for me it would have been better because it would have meant I avoided the triple captain. So if Harden looks good in game week 17, then it would have been a mistake. So let's see how the team looks. I think I was kind of saved by the fact that I already owned a Thiago. So a lot of non-freeaters didn't have a Thiago, but I did. So the difference between my team and the freer team was maybe about like 20 points, which is still pretty decent. But let's see if we can make that up in game week 16. Can you explain your decision-making process? What data / websites do you use? Yes, so basically my thinking is I usually look at the fixtures. So you can do whatever you want with that. You can look at the actual FPL website and then just navigate to the full profile and then see the fixtures that are upcoming. In terms of stats, I like to use RBRef. They like a free stats provider, or Fantasy Football Fix if you want a paid alternative, looking at the Opta stats. And then for like projection points, I usually use FPL Review. They have been pretty good. And that kind of, I usually sense check ideas with that. So I don't really play like a full model perspective. I don't just run and then do whatever it says. I will think of transfer solutions just from my own mind and then validate those maybe with the projection. Maybe there's a move I haven't even considered that the model suggests. But usually what I do is I just go with my own sort of transfer plan, and then I use the model for some more close decisions like who to bench, who to captain, that sort of thing. When will you transfer Ndai out? Probably game week 17, and I'm looking at maybe like a Declan Rice. Around the same price potentially, that should be okay. Let's see what game week 17 has in store for us though. Emmanuel's saying, I have 0.1 in the bank. I hope you keep me in the mind when you make transfers. Yeah, so there's a few people there's some people that can't even make the Foden transfers. So everyone, even if you have a different team, is allowed to ask questions over on Discord. So I've been helping people through that. And it's been a bit of a weird season. Some people, even weirdly, have more money than me. I don't know how that's happened, but people that have the same team but have more money, and they were allowed to kind of get Foden in last week, because that's what I would have done. If I had 0.1 more, I would have gone for Lecra and Foden instead of Minte, so that would have made my team look a whole lot better. So let's hope that Minte does something this week. Philippe saying, hi Davey, good luck and have fun. Thank you, Philippe. Hope it's a good game week for you, brother. Good to be back on the streams. Sasha saying, should I remove Keane out, either free transfer, and have Anderson on my bench or save it? So guys, please, Sash, you can't roll transfers to next week. So use it. Use your transfers this week, okay? You guys have to use them. You don't have to, but I would suggest using them because next week we get 5 free transfers. So whatever you're going to roll to next week gets deleted. So please, if you have free transfers, once again, use them this week, okay? Okay, let me make a, can I add a, me see if I can. Pin message. There we go. Is Visa going to AFCON? As far as I saw, no. But like, I wouldn't buy him anyways. But just as a question, Obey, yeah, I think he's not going. Sorry, Davey, a bit late to the party. If I'm missing 0.1 for Foden and Minte transfers for Semenyo and Sarr, what's the move? So the move is probably just to keep Semenyo. You can do Sarr to Minte. And then I would just do a defensive transfer instead. Or you go for a Cunha, but I would just keep Semenyo. I would keep Semenyo if you are on free at 16, because what that means is that you can keep him for 17, and he has Burnley at home, which is a pretty good game. Who should I start? Casemiro or Semenyo? I'd go Semenyo. Who to bench? Ndai or Enzo? So Winston, I can't tell you something that I'm not doing. So I'm not going to tell you to bench Ndai when I'm not benching him. So in my team, what I've gone for is I'm choosing Ndai over Enzo. But maybe you disagree with me because you asked the question. So you can always start Enzo if you feel like he's better. Does that make Voltemada minutes risk? Can't you decide? I don't think so. I think Voltemada has done enough for him to be the main striker at Newcastle. What's the transfer plan if you have one? If you have one free transfer, you meaning Christian. So if I had one free transfer, I would have probably taken Keane out for Fun Hacker. That's what I would have done. That's the transfer I would be making. I'd be doing Keane to Fun Hacker and starting him. What were the moves this week? Jojo's Revenge, it was Semenyo to Foden. That was the move. João Pedro, best replacement, Thiago. Did Keane to Van Hecker, as other two defenders won't play, would you do Semenyo to Foden for -4, or would you do Mateta to Voltemada? Same midfield and strikers as you. I would just keep, I don't think I like many hits this week. If we knew that Foden starts, I would say yes, but there's a chance he doesn't. So I think Semenyo is okay for this week for not a -4. If you do want to bring him in though, because you're worried about Foden just rising in price and stuff like that, then that's viable. But I don't think it's a necessary move. When is the last week to use chips? As far as I know, it's game week 19. Let me go on the help here, just to make sure. Okay, yeah, so game week 19. Yeah, game week 19 is the last week you can use it. So just to repeat there, game week 19 is the last week you guys can use chips, okay? I start Enzo, Semenyo. I'd probably go Semenyo. So Haaland, Thiago, Voltemada, best frontline for the next few weeks. I think it looks fine. If you free at 16, I think Haaland, Thiago, Welbeck could actually be what you want to look at. Should I transfer Enzo out to Bruno G? It's a bit sideways for me, Sultan. Best free at week. I think next week. I don't own Arsenal assets like a sucker, that sort of thing. So next week for me makes the most sense. I think also you're allowed to go against Man City. I probably won't own any Man City assets. That might be a curse, but it might also be okay. So let's see. Worth selling Mbumo to Foden for free. Tracy, I think I would just keep Mbumo. Still has a great fixture. You could probably argue that Mbumo might be better this week than Foden is. Start Van der Ven or Keane? I would start Van der Ven for goal threat. But is he even going to start? I think he was benched last week. But I think he should be okay. Is Keane fit to play? I don't even know. What it seems like has been happening is he's been playing with injury and he's missed the last fitness test for the previous game. So that means that at least he was close, potentially, I think. So he could be fine, but if he doesn't, not the sort of player I think comes off the bench. Touch wood, that doesn't happen. So we should get Anderson then instead. A bit off topic, what do you think about Slot getting fired for Glasner? Would you think it's a good move for us? I don't exactly know. I don't know about changing managers too much. I like Glasner, but yeah, I don't know. I think we're not playing great. Let's just put it that way. So I think if this does continue, then I think there might be an upgrade waiting to happen for Slot. Ndai or Anderson, who to start? I would prefer Ndai. Start Rice or João Pedro. Rice is safer. I think João Pedro is probably a higher ceiling, but I think Rice is the safer option. Mateta or João start? Thanks. Mateta. Same, Vian. It's been the worst season for me as well. Got Pope injured. Yeah, 100%. Third week in a row making a goalkeeper transfer. You could always just play Dubravka, though, if you want to. What two should I start? Timber, Thiago, or O'Reilly? Damn. I think you play the attacker. I would try and start all three. Your team must look absolutely stacked if you're having to debate that. I think there might be another player that you could bench instead of those three. On a free hit, Gordon or Doku for Triple City? I'd go Gordon. He's probably a bit more nailed. Philippe, legend for 34 months. Thank you for the renewal, Philippe. Davey, bench one. Keane, Richards, João Pedro. I'd bench Keane. I'd play Richards and João Pedro. I have Thiago, then Welbeck, Harsh. What's your realistic rank expectation? So unfortunately, I can't even say what the realistic rank is because with double chips this season, who knows what's going to happen? You could have massive rank rises. So I don't know. I mean, I've seen a lot of people that have had massive free hit weeks and have halved their rank. So let's hope that comes for us in game week 16, and then maybe we can just move on from there. But I would say it's going to have to take everything going right for us to finish really strong. I think now if we can finish top 100k, that'd be pretty good for us, but I don't know. But as mentioned, I can't really give you an expectation because this season's unlike another season. If you're on the free hit, what would your team look like? Okay, I think my team would look like... let's just see if you guys can see this. Yeah, you can. Let's just ignore like your bench options like a Rodon, that sort of thing. My bench would probably look like, I think I wouldn't have Thiago, I would have Danny Welbeck. I wouldn't have Keane. I would have probably Van Hecker. I don't think I would have Virgil. I'd have... this is a tough one. It depends on who you think is going to start from Newcastle. I don't know if I would go for a Raya. Probably a Ramsdale. I'd double up. I think I'd still have Minte. I'd do this. And then I think instead of an Ndai, I would probably have an Mbeumo. This spot is cheap, so let's just go for like an Anderson. But you're not going to start him. It's going to be this front three. I don't know with Thiago. I don't know about Thiago actually. I think maybe what I would do is I'd go cheap here, and then instead of Anderson, I would go for Gordon. Gordon or Voltamada, but I think Gordon's on penalties. So it probably would be this. I think I would still go for Munoz because of his attacking threat. It would be Ramsdale, Munoz, Van Hecker, Thiel, whatever Newcastle defender. This midfield five, and then I'd go Welbeck, Haaland up front. It'd probably be like a 3-5-2. That's what I'd say. Let me know if your guys' team is that different if you're on the free hit. But this week's a tough one. I think your fixtures look good. It's just within the team there's going to be these small differences. Any early team sheet news? Okay, let me check some early team sheet news with a lovely 6 minutes to go. I don't see anything as of now. Okay, so apparently Declan Rice is with the squad. So if you have Declan Rice, it looks like he's going to play. That's all. He's just with the squad, though. It's not confirmed that he does start, but he's been cited. As start one, KDH or Richards. I think I would go for... the outfielder, Dewsbury Hall. Very slight, though. Post the team, yes. Sorry, let me post the team. And then we can do a little bit of a quick fire round. Why do you need to use your free transfers? So next week we get 5 free transfers, so please use them. Because basically they're going to be wasted. It's Gameweek 15 right, Joe. Why Ndiaye over Enzo? With Ndiaye being on penalties, I think he offers a little bit extra than Enzo does. Can't afford Minte, cheap alternative. Anderson from Nottingham Forest or Dewsbury Hall? Probably Dewsbury Hall. Start Soboslai or O'Reilly? Soboslai. Bench 1, Watkins, João Pedro or Raul Jimenez? I would bench... Last time, who do you have in your defense? If you have like a Crystal Palace defender, then I would bench Raul Jimenez. Otherwise, it seems like João Pedro might be the one. Semenyo, good or bad? He's okay. Would you triple captain today or against West Ham? Against West Ham. I have a benching headache. Need to pick 2 from Munoz, Richards, O'Reilly, and Anderson. I would pick Munoz and O'Reilly. Split the odds. Play the attacking defenders. Is Wilson Fulham worth a punch, cheap and easy to bench? Tracy, he's fine. I think Dewsbury Hall, those guys, Anderson, they're sufficient enough for cheaper options. Thiago or Anderson? Thiago. Play 2 of Semenyo and Ndiaye Moreno. I'd go Semenyo and Ndiaye. I'd bench Moreno. You never know if he's even going to be benched. Thanks, no worries, last number. Are you starting Keane or just for bench jam? I don't know, Rahitz. Let's hope it's for bench jam if Anderson gets points. But yeah, I hope that Keane either misses out completely or he just doesn't feature. Would you take a hit to get Minto? No, I would just play your 2, James. Bournemouth is poor, then why Ndiaye? As mentioned, just because he's at home and on penalties, I think he's got a bit of a higher projection there. Thanks, Chris. Good luck to you too, brother. I've 5.6, but I need a defender. Can you help? Lecra. I think Lecra looks pretty good. Or O'Reilly from Man City. Bruno G, yes, he's okay. Yeah, he's got his rest, I think, for 45, and I think he should start the majority of games. Rice to Foden or Cullen to Minte just for this game week. I would think Rice to Foden then. Enzo or Thiago, who to start? I'm starting Thiago, so I can't recommend something that I'm not doing. So I would just recommend the team that I have on screen. Senesi to Anderson, Van Hecker, or Pope to Verbruggen, Ramsdale. I would say Senesi to Van Hecker. I think that looks pretty good. No worries, clip simulations. We do have about how much time is left? 20 seconds. So any last minute questions? Hopefully you guys are even hearing this. 1 free transfer to sell Pope or Senesi. Yeah, Michael, I think I answered that below. Any other questions? Senesi to Keane? No, not to Keane. To Van Hecker probably. Or another player. And Siddharth, you beat me to it. You beat me to the emoji. But yeah, that's going to be TUPD time, guys. Time up, pens down. If you know, you know. But the deadline is going to be passing. Hopefully the team is going to be pretty okay. I think the team does look good. We are locked in now, so let's just see what happens. As Tracy is saying, if you didn't bring in Foden, you're probably hiding behind a sofa this week. But that sofa could actually be made into a nice, comfortable seat if Foden is benched. Let's just see what happens. There's no certainty with Pep. There's no certainty with Man City. So let's see what happens. Should be quite an interesting one. But As always, thank you for joining the stream, for still joining even though I've missed about a week of content. I do appreciate your guys' continued support. Don't worry, there will be videos upcoming for Game Week 16, and we will be using the free hit, so quite an interesting free hit week potentially upon us. Let's hope for a massive green. For Game Week 15, hopefully the greens are in our favor, and hopefully you guys have an enjoyable weekend of sport, no matter which team you're supporting. Let's just hope our FPL team does well, because that'll be pretty nice. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys, and for the time being, I'm signing off. It's been Davey FPL. Cheers. Bye.